everyone, this is Rachel and I'm here with another process video. Today I'm working with my October Scraptastic kit and I'm going to be scrapbooking that photo off to the left of my niece when she was a baby sleeping. And I'm going to do a slight mixed media in doing the smooshing technique using these Tim Holtz Distress ink pads. But before I do that, I'm thinking, why don't I build my photo cluster first? Because I always end up having to go back and add more because I don't do it big enough. So I'm using this Scraptastic exclusive paper and I'm going to do a row of those hearts, and then I'm also using the back side of that paper, which is all of the diamond shapes. And I really loved both sides of this paper, so this was very hard trying to decide what to do where. So I'm getting this set up and I grabbed this yellow polka dotted piece of paper, and I believe it's a Scraptastic exclusive of Scraptastic exclusive as well, but I'm not totally sure because it is a scrap I've already used twice. And I also grabbed that scrap piece I have from the Chamel True Colors line, and that's it has the bold floral print on the other side. Now I'm going to use some Hero Arts wet cement and outline all of the papers, or not outline, but ink up all the edges of the papers. And I am going to use spun sugar and abandoned coral in the distress inks on my paper. Now I love this paper from Amy Tangerine and I consider using it 2 or 3 times, but it's just too bold for the softer look I'm going for in this layout. So I'm going to start to layer up my pages, and how I layer is I just want to see hints of paper behind it, and I want to use, I like to use colors that are in my photo or that evoke the mood I'm going for. So in my photo, my niece is wearing a pink outfit and she's in her navy blue car seat. So I'm bringing in the navies, and there's some yellow in that butterfly. So I've got the butterflies, and once again I'm trying to use that Finders Keeper paper from Amy Tan, but it's just not going to work for me. So those are the colors I'm working with. Now because I have the pink paper, and I'm just marking where my paper ends so I know where to put my smooshing, and so I have the spun sugar and I'm slightly afraid it's going to be too light, so I brought in that abandoned coral and I do end up using it, but in actuality the spun sugar is perfectly fine. I use a little bit of it, but what I do is I go farther up where I know it's going to be covered by a photo, just in case I think it's too dark. And I actually do think it's slightly too dark, but I do bring it down a little bit and it works perfectly well. In fact, I think I've done smooshing 2 or 3 times. This is my favorite time I've done that. I like it quite a bit. I'm going to pull out my Heidi Swap Color Shine, and I'm going to drip in coral. And then at the last minute, I'm going to decide to do butter as well. And I really, really like, I mean, this is incredibly mixed media light, but you know, I'm trying to get more comfortable with it because I love the look of it. I'm just very scared to do it myself. So I take the hearts from the piece of paper that I used and I cut one out, and I'm just going to pop it up on some pop dots and put it on top of the other one. But before I do that, I'm just going to ink the edges of it. And for me, this is pretty messy, but it's not something I mind. I don't mind it if my inked edges are messy and not super neat. I know some people, because the heart curves down, you can't quite get the ink pad in there without getting it on the front of the paper. But it's a very watercolor look anyways, so it's not something that bothers me. So I go ahead and I ink up the edge of that, and I think my paper is dry now, and yes, it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this down. Now when I did this, I did not check to see how far over that wood veneer piece I wanted to use would be, so I ended up having to move this farther to the right than I had originally anticipated, but it was fine. So what I decided to do is I'm going to use that exclusive die cut that comes in the kit, and I'm just going to color it in the same spun sugar color, so that way when I tuck it in, it's not as glaringly white as it is originally. So I am definitely liking the look of this, and I take out these Amy Tangerine rub-ons, and I'm going to use more of the color splashes. I'm going to use that red one, the red circle in the upper right hand corner, and then I'm going to, now because these are solid colors, I think it's very important just to double check and pull away slowly, because otherwise you might lose half of it. And these ones, the colored ones, stick very, very well. The white ones do not stick very well, but if you're careful with them, it works much better. So I get those down, and now I'm going to go ahead, and this is where I realize, oh wait, that wood veneer piece is much larger than I realized, so everything's going to have to move over a little bit, but I've already put down my rub-ons, so, you know, I just have to live with where they are. So I'm starting to bring in my embellishments, and I bring in the heart that I had cut out and pop dotted before, and I am going to find just these stars from Pretty Little Studio, and I'm going to place those around. And then the next thing I'm going to do is, I don't like the fact that that wood veneer comes over my photo, and it, because there's a pattern of the photo behind it, so I just covered it up with some white cardstock. And even I should have covered up the other one too, but I just didn't think about it. So I go ahead and get that glued down. There we go. I punched ahead because it took me a while to get it. And I'm also going to go ahead and peel the sticker backing off of my title, which is Dream Big. And this piece came in the kit just like this. And I just thought it would be super cute for a layout about when my niece was sleeping. And there were about 16 different photos of her as a baby, and probably about 30 more throughout the years of her sleeping in various positions. I just thought this photo with the blue of the car seat and her pink outfit just kind of went really well with the color scheme. So I go ahead and tuck that golden in, and I really like this layout. I think it turned out very cute. And so I'm going to go ahead and add another rub-on, and the rub-on says, isn't this lovely, or isn't this so lovely, something like that. Yeah, so I go ahead and get that down, and you can't really see the isn't it so or isn't, but the lovely shows up, and I'm perfectly happy with that. I take a quick idea of putting some washi tape, but it's not working for me, and I didn't really like it anyway, so I went ahead and tossed that. So I'm adding some glue just to hold down everything, and just kind of ruminating about if I need any more of those rub-ons. And there's also a little yellow circle and a medium-sized aqua circle, and I go ahead and add that to the upper corner. Now I have more of those stars, and I'm going to add those, but the first thing I'm going to do is get my big ones glued down. Sorry, my voiceover stopped. So I'm getting the rest of my stars glued down. Sorry, I got a little lost. And now I'm going to go through both the die cut from the L Studio Thankful line that came in the kit, and then also the L Studio die cuts I have from various kits that I put together as part of my counterfeit kit. Now there aren't a lot left in the Thankful kit, like the little pictures, they're more like the words and stuff like that, so I didn't really find anything to use. In my counterfeit kit, I did find this little grid with all the hearts at the top, and it was nice because it had a bunch of the colors that are all over the layout kind of drawn onto one card. So I cut the top part off of that and put it at the top, and then use a little bit of the grid down at the bottom kind of to draw the grid lines both at the top of the photo and at the bottom. And I really try to, when I'm using multiple colors in a layout, try to pull in all of the different colors into all of the different embellishment areas, or just to kind of keep it that way. So I have the gray in 3 different areas, and I have the pink and, you know, the yellow, and I just try to keep it so that I'm not just keeping one color to one area, so it just helps draw the eye around the layout. Now, I'm pretty much finished with it. The only thing I'm going to do, I am going to add this little Vespa button because my whole title is Dream Big Little One. And so for me, like a Vespa doesn't necessarily mean like literally a Vespa. It means, travel and adventure. And, for me, that's something that, maybe a baby dreams about. I don't know what a baby dreams about. But, something, you think that you want for your child. You want them to be able to explore this world and stuff like that. So I just write a little bit of journaling because this isn't about a specific event. I write, my greatest wish for you is for you to reach for the stars, whether asleep or awake, or something to that point. You'll see it in the close-ups. Anyways, so my whole idea about this was, with that Dream Big sticker, was to really talk about just, hey, I hope you go big. I hope life is an adventure for you. So the last thing I'm going to do before, of course, I add my enamel dots is I'm going to finish off my title using these authentic tiny type letters from their cozy line. And then I'm going to add a yellow star from the Chamel collection, and then an aqua and a coral dot to complete the little triangle in the triangle area in my visual triangle. So I'm going to show you some close-ups and some photos at the end, but that is it for me, folks. Have a great day, everyone. Give me a thumbs up if you can. Bye!